What the hell is going on, people? This is Periodic, and you see the title of the video. This is gonna be a fun one. I'm sure you guys are gonna go nuts in the comments, and hopefully gently rub that like button as opposed to vigorously smashing the dislike button. This is completely subjective, but it's kind of what I would like to see finally arrive in Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. They've been holding out on us for certain categories that I'm surprised are not in the game by now. And not only are we going to be talking about the top 10 categories needed, or at least that I would like to see in the game, we're also going to talk about cards that can be introduced to kind of fill out each of these characters. I'm not just going to say, hey, I want this category, and then that's it, move on to the next. I'm going to talk about the category, what cards that we already have that can go into that category, and new cards that they can create to fill out that category and make it even stronger. And we're going to go on a tier list where we're actually going to not necessarily... So 2 through 10 is kind of up in the air for me. I can switch them around how I need to. I'm not necessarily sold on 2 through 10, but number 1 is where it's at. Number 1 is what I've wanted in this game for a long time. So number 1 is really the only important one for me. All the other ones would be really cool, but if they do not give us number 1, it's going to be extremely disappointing. And number 1 is Super Saiyan 4 category. I love the Super Saiyan 4 form. To me, it is the coolest form because they seem more muscular. They got the fur, they got the big hair, they got the eyeliner for some strange reason. They got their tails back. It actually makes the tails important, which, you know, tails haven't been important since Dragon Ball. Really, Raditz was the last one to use attacks with his tail. Actually, no, Vegeta, I think, uses attacks with his tails. But regardless, it's amazing. I love how they're a little bit more. Can you say they're a little bit more aggressive? They're a little bit, you know, and I would even take that even further. But already you have 2 different Gokus, or 3 different Gokus you can put on that team. 2 you can run side by side. You have the LR and the AGL Vegeta. Obviously, you would have to pick one. You have the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So you already have some units that you can throw on the team. I don't think I'm missing anybody. No. Who can you bring along to add more units onto that squad? Well, that's easy. There are already versions of these characters in Dragon Ball Heroes. So, number 1, Super Saiyan 4 Broly. And not only Super Saiyan 4 Broly, I would make him an LR. So we would introduce a new LR, Super Saiyan 4 Broly. We would also introduce a Super Saiyan 4 Gohan. Again, Dragon Ball Heroes, we have Super Saiyan 4 Vegito that we can toss in there. We can also go throwback and put Super Saiyan 4 Bardock on this squad as well. We already have Super Saiyan Bardock and Super Saiyan 2 and 3 Bardock. Why not just put a Super Saiyan 4 Bardock there? So now you have Broly, you have Gohan, you have Bardock, and you have Vegito. That's 4 new units on top of the 1, 2, 3, 4 that you can already use. That's a category right there. You can bring also some, like, I don't know, Super Saiyan 4 Shugesh or Boros, you know, some of the other Saiyans. King Vegeta, Super Saiyan 4, that would be really cool. And you can kind of just toss that in there to really fill out that category. Have about 10 or 12 characters you can put on that category. That would be awesome. So that is number 1. Number 2, again, 2 to 10 are in no order, so take it how you will. But number 2 is in its name, Super Saiyan 2. We have Super Saiyan category led by the transforming strength Goku, who goes from base form to Super Saiyan, and now we will have a Super Saiyan 2 category. Now, why is this important? Well, you can put Super Saiyan 2 LR Gohan on that category. You can also put LR Super Saiyan 2 Majin Vegeta on that category, not to mention the Super Saiyan 2 AGL Goku who's fighting Majin Vegeta in that particular artwork. And you can even introduce newer characters such as, Super Saiyan 2 Shallot from a different, if you're doing kind of a cross promotion with Legends, you can do Super Saiyan 2 Vegito or Super Saiyan 2 Gogeta. You can introduce new cards in that way. So I think that would be really fun because we've only ever seen Super Saiyan 1 Vegito. We've only ever seen Super Saiyan 1 Gogeta. So you can introduce these two new forms and fill out this category. Now, granted, this does seem like a somewhat smaller category, but I think it would actually surprise you to see the amount of cards that you can fill in there. You can throw some Super Saiyan 2 Trunks and whatnot. So I think that'll be really fun. Also, one thing to mention is Super Saiyan 2 Goku Black that we see in the manga, yet we never see in the anime. So that would be really dope to include in the Super Saiyan 2 category. And he can even be the new LR. Category number 3, Z Fighters or Earth Warriors. Now, a few of these recommendations were actually brought to me by my Discord and people on my Discord. So shout outs to everybody in the club Discord, and if you haven't joined, I'll probably have a link in the description below. But this was a great idea that I was always had in the back of my mind, and then they kind of filled out with more characters. So you can definitely throw Tien, you could put Yamcha, you can put pre-Namek Goku on there. This is potentially going to be everyone who was Earth fighters. If you wanted to, you can also bring characters from Dragon Ball Super for the representatives of Universe 7, but I kind of like this old school approach to it, the Z Fighters. This is going to be Dragon Ball Saga, this is going to be Dragon Ball Z Saga. Everyone who tried to protect Earth at one point or another. It's going to give LR Piccolo a time to shine on here. You're also going to finally, and if I was in control of the game, this is what would happen. You would finally introduce an LR Krillin who is either using Solar Flare or who's using the Destructo Disc, something like that. Preferably, in my opinion, it would be really awesome if you use the Destructo Disc that he tosses when he cuts Vegeta's tail. Or is he the one that bounces back the Spirit Bomb, or was that Gohan? I think it was Krillin. So one of those artworks should be phenomenal. You should have plenty of things to choose from, but it would be, again, a Z Fighters / Earth Warriors type team. Chaozu, all those guys. Number 4 is going to tie in with number 3. Number 4 is going to be a Saiyan Invasion Saga. So this is going to be not only the Raditz Saga, but also the Vegeta Saga. This is going to be a lot of the characters. It's going to kind of blend with the Z Fighters category. So you're going to have people like Raditz. And we're actually going to make a good Raditz card at that point. We're going to have Nappa, and we should also make a good Nappa card on top of that. You're going to have the Scouter Vegetas. You're going to have Kaioken Gokus. You're going to have those Tiens, those Chaozus, those Piccolos. But, excuse me, again, this is blending these Z Fighters with the villains at that conjuncture, because to me, the Z Fighters and the Earth Warriors are going to go also back to Dragon Ball. So you're going to have a lot to go back to and choose those heroes, whereas the Saiyan Invasion Saga is just going to be straight up Raditz Saga, straight up Saiyan Saga, plus the villains, Cybermen. Let's make some tough Cybermen as well. This team is also going to introduce Cybermen, and will actually make some rather strong Cybermen. So I think that'll be really awesome. And then, not to steal the glory, but an LR that I've been wanting in the game for a very, very long time. LR Scouter Vegeta and LR Nappa when they first land on Earth and they're standing all tall, looking super dope. Or you can even use the art when Vegeta blasts the planet with his 2 fingers and they're both in space just laughing. That would be really, really cool art indeed, and would make a fantastic LR. You can throw them on Joint Forces, all that stuff. Just, it'll be incredible. It'll be incredible. Now, number 5 seems like it's already in the game. And again, this was a recommendation by one of the members of my Discord. And at first I was like, they already have that. But no. So listen to this. Frieza Force. Frieza Force. Not Wicked Bloodline, because that is a race. That is Frieza, his brothers, King Cold, all that stuff. We're talking about Frieza Force. So we're not talking about Cooler's people. Cooler is not involved in this. His people are not involved in this. This is Frieza, the Ginyu Force. We're talking about Zarbon. We're talking about the Doria. We're talking about Vegeta. We're talking about Nappa, Raditz. All those people are involved in the Frieza Force, right? Maybe not the lower Saiyans like Raditz. He's probably not involved at all. But LR Ginyu Force, the LR Strength Frieza. And then we can make a new LR. Though I have, for this one, guys, to be quite honest, I don't know what LR it would be. You can probably just use like the LR Full Power Frieza as the leader of this Frieza Force, because we do have quite a bit of LRs on this team. But I would like to see a very strong Zarbon. I would like to see a very strong Dodoria, because so far they only have like SRs. I don't even think they have a single SSR unit in the game. No URs and definitely no TURs. So it would be really, really awesome to see some strong cards and have a Frieza Force category. Number 6. So I was kind of thinking, and the way that I came to this category is I always want to see cards that I don't use together and they just share no categories, and have them together. So I would like to see a mind controlled category. So you already have artificial life forms, you have Majin Buu Saga, you have Android Saga. This is mind controlled. So if the character is being mind controlled or is being taken over or something like that, then they are in this category. Who would that include? Well, that would include LR Baby, obviously. That would include LR Majin Vegeta, obviously. Even though he kind of fits, but he kind of doesn't. It is what it is. We're going to include him in this. That's going to include Gohan and Goten from the Baby Saga. Bulma. All of those characters that were involved and were mind controlled to a sense. There's a bunch of other characters as well that I can't think of off the top of my head, but I think that would be really fun because you can put some really strong units together on the same team and have kind of like this little category that you wouldn't really think of. It's a little outside the box, granted. Number 7 was a great suggestion, in my opinion, by the people over on my Discord. It would be the Other World category. The Other World category, aka the Still Dead category. Not Resurrected Warriors. These people have not come back. They died and they stayed dead. All right, so they have not come back at all. Who would this be? It would be Cell, who's dead and just stays dead the entire time. It would be Babidi, Dabura, who both are killed in the Majin Buu Saga and just never come back. Future Gohan, who's killed in the future and just never comes back. And the person who I would probably make an LR for, either the future Gohan or Pikkon. Because the boy faces off against Janemba, he faces off against Cell, he faces off against Goku. Pikkon puts in some work and is just never credited with any of it, never asked to come back, any of that stuff. So let's make Pikkon an LR. That would be super dope. But again, you can have a bunch of different characters on this team of cats that just died and just never ever come back. So you can't have your Freezes, you can't have Gokus, you can't have Vegetas because they all died and they came back. We're talking about people that have died, villains that have died and just never come back. No Brolys, no Coolers, none of that stuff. Just people that died and have never ever come back. They just stayed dead. Number 8 and number 9 are essentially a brother-sister pairing. And I actually really like these two. So video game heroes and video game bosses for number 8 and number 9. So once again, video game heroes and video game bosses. Now, who are we talking about here? For video game heroes, Charlotte, obviously, number 1 from Dragon Ball Legends. Android 16 is already in the game. Fighter Z, Android 21, the good side, is already in the game. We can have someone like Mecha Goku. Bulma created a mechanical Goku for Vegeta to fight against in one of the Dragon Ball games. I can't even remember what it was called. We can have Beat from Dragon Ball Super Heroes World Mission. We can just have a ton of Akina, I believe her name is from also the same game. Just a ton of characters from a bunch of different Dragon Ball Z video games on PC, on SNES, on PlayStation, on PS4, Xbox, all these different I don't know if there's any Dragon Ball Z games on Xbox besides Fighter Z, but regardless, a ton of different characters, heroes, have been involved in the Dragon Ball franchise across all the video games, and these are characters that are specifically from those video games. You can also bring in all the Dragon Ball Fusion characters with your Karolis and your Barlots and stuff like that. To finish up with that video game Part 1 and 2, we also have the video game bosses. So, number 1, I know everyone wants to see him, Cumber. That dude would be amazing in Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. You can have a transforming Cumber who starts off base form and then switches over to Super Saiyan. That would be so sick. You can also bring in Fu, who would be really cool. Cialis, I believe his name is. Cialis? I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but those cats from the newer version of Dragon Ball Heroes Super, or Dragon Ball Super Heroes, that would be really awesome bringing them in. You can bring old school cats like Hachiak from the old Dragon Ball game that was kind of a movie, but it was kind of a game. He was super dope because they were fighting him, and he was just really strong. Newer still, you can bring Giblet, or Giblet, however the hell you pronounce his name, from Dragon Ball Legends. I never actually listened to his name being said. I've only read it, so I'm going to say Giblet. Obviously, the long lost, I don't know, a Saiyan from far away ago, from ancient times. So that would be really cool to have him as a villain. And there's just so many villains across that are just straight up Dragon Ball game only. Demigra. You can actually make a very, very strong Demigra in there. Mira and all those characters that you've seen in those games that can bring over. That would be really cool indeed. And then finally, the 10 out of 10 spot. Again, 2 to 10 is in no order. But we're going to finish this list off with Seekers of Revenge. So this is a very specific category. It is not Resurrected Warriors, it's not Seeker of the Dragon Balls, it's Seekers of Revenge. So what does that mean? That is essentially a character that was defeated and then came back. Don't have to be killed. They don't have to be bad. They could have just lost the fight and then came back. So that immediately throws in Goku. That immediately throws in Vegeta. That immediately throws in characters like Gohan, who were knocked out of the fight and then come back in, right? Then you can throw in bad guys like Frieza, who's defeated a bunch of times and comes back, particularly in the the Namek Saga, where he takes the Spirit Bomb, comes back, takes this, come back, etc., etc. You can throw in characters like Broly, who in the Dragon Ball Super movie, defeated by God Vegeta, comes back, etc., etc. Looks like they're about to lose, and then they come back. You could have someone like Cell, who is straight up defeated when he blows himself up, comes back. So a bunch of different characters you can throw in there, and I think you could really combine it and have fun, because you'll have super units, you'll have extreme units, and that's what I like. Movie bosses, movie heroes, teams like that, Resurrected Warriors, they skew to one side, either extreme or super, things like that. I want to kind of bring, for some of these categories that are going to combine the two, so you have a very big, healthy pool of characters that you can combine and make different teams of. If you have better super units, if you have better extreme units, etc., whatever it is, that's kind of what I want to do. So those are my ideas, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the top 10 categories that I want in Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. Let me know, who do you want? Who is your favorite, or what is your favorite category that you want to show up in the game? Who is the character that is not in the game right now that you want to show up? Is it an LR? Is it a TUR? What are your thoughts on it? I'd love to know. And if you've yet to subscribe to the channel, consider what you're doing with your life. Go ahead and gently rub that sub button. Gingerly ring the bell button. And everyone that's watching should have already sensually kissed the like button. As always, this is Periodic. See you boys and girls in the next video.